Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome today to an outing in the Senna. I need to get some miles on this car, we've got to get it running and I want to talk more about that later on, but today I'm going to be taking the car back to its birthplace, back to Woking, the home of McLaren, the McLaren Technology Centre, because today they've got an event on, something to do with LEGO and something to do with the Senna. We'll find out more about that later on when we get there, but basically the car only has around 380 miles on it at the moment. Lots of you guys have been pointing out that I need to get it running. I need to drive it, even though there is something new arriving very, very soon right now. In fact, this coming weekend, this Saturday, a new car is going to be joining the lineup here in the garage. I'll also explain what's going on with the Alpine just down there. You might know that car as well, but we're going to jump into the Senna, take it over to McLaren, see what's going on today, talk about lots more things as well, lots to update you on, but every opportunity to drive this car is a special one. So let's get it started up and head on out. Here in the car storage at the moment then, we've got the AMG GTR, the Senna, the Ford GT, and the 675 LT Spider. The GT8 is over at my home, and we're also very soon going to be adding the new car, this mysterious car with a V12, this Saturday. But at the moment, tucked into the GT8 spot, we have a fairly well-known Alpine A110. I've never driven one of these, but this car belongs to this guy.
Hello.
It's Seb. You haven't been here on my channel for years.
It's been so long, it feels odd to be back.
It is, which you might remember a couple of years ago, guys, back at the time of like the FF, the 675 Coupe, the GT4, we were shooting loads of videos.
The Blue Crew.
The Blue Crew, indeed.
Called,
the Blue Crew. Well, you're here with a blue-ish car. Blue with a bit of yellow.
It is, yes, and you were saying you're going to be teasing me about this.
Oh yeah, let's actually do this. So Seb's number plate is literally held on with tape.
Well, this technically was not me. Someone drove my car and apparently the plate was coming off.
Okay.
But it's not an excuse, nevertheless.
I was going to say, excuses. Well, your Alpine is done up to look like the old...
Exactly, yeah. We've got the fog lights, we've got the yellow lights here, and it's done, in homage of the old Alpine A110, so going back to the history of the car.
Why not? Well, today, we're going to be taking the Senna. Have you been in a Senna?
I've never been in a Senna. I've never even heard a Senna.
You've never even heard a Senna?
No, I've only seen them stationary.
Well, let's get that sorted out. We'll get this car ready to rock and roll. I've just unplugged the trickle charger and set off with a fairly short drive over to McLaren. Because one of the cool things about McLaren is that it is technically my local car company, if I can say that. It's like being an Italian from Bologna living near Ferrari. McLaren come from Woking, which is about 25 miles away from central London. So it's only about 45 minutes to actually get there. One of the reasons why I'm really interested in the company and their products, and one of the reasons that I think we could say my first hypercar is the McLaren Senna. So, like I said, 380 miles on the clock. Let's do a few more because we've got to get to 600 in time for the car to go off on some more trips very soon. I'm going to fill you in more on that later on as well and what the plans are with both the Senna and the GT. From the Senna key, if you press the unlock button once, of course it unlocks. If you double press it, it actually pops the door and unlatches the hinges so that all you do then is lift it up and then you have that interior. The doors weigh next to nothing. But let me take a gentle step in here. It is very dark. It's also always quite difficult to do with the camera in my hand, but we have managed this time around. And then, naturally, up on the roof is the button to start it. So, take a listen. Into life we go then. So, we literally have, I slightly exaggerated, 365 miles on the clock and a tyre that's at 1.9 bar, but that's not a problem. That'll warm up a touch in a second. And yeah, it's going to be drive time. Everything in this car is pure crazy and just an insane thing to be driving. The UK is having some absolutely lovely weather at the moment. It seems like every day it's quite nice and warm and sunny, which makes no sense for the time of year, but it's an absolute delight if you like driving. Now, as always, in the Senna, I know how loud it is in here, so please do excuse me if I'm basically shouting at you guys, but I know how hard it is to hear me otherwise, especially when we get out towards some country roads. But basically, the aim here is to get a few more miles on this car. I can't just go and, let's say, drive 600 miles up the motorway, because that's A, not a good way to run in a car, and B, would consume a lot of the miles I can actually do per year. And what I mean by that is basically down to insurance and funding and the value of the car to be completely real. I'm very open about the fact that I've stretched myself quite far to add the Senna to the garage, so I have to be a bit sensible about this and not just do everything and do miles that don't necessarily mean that much. I want them to be exciting, memorable miles when I drive this car. So the other day I took the Ford GT out, went down to look at this new V12. Obviously that car is now running, it's done about 650 miles, the GT needed 600. This car actually needs, to be precise, 625 miles in the guidebook. It's 1,000 kilometers. It's not that you can't go over a certain number of revs, it's basically that you shouldn't do any heavy engine braking, any full load, idling the car for too long, anything like that. Basically you should try and keep the car driving, go up and down the gearbox, through the gears, and not be too consistent about everything that you're doing. So this year has some very, very big plans for both the GT and the Senna. You might have caught wind that the GT is, well, going to be boarding an aeroplane and going far and wide. More on that to be told in the near future. The Senna is going to be venturing a lot around Europe, lots of events to take it to, and lots of things coming up. So it needs to be run in ready for that, but also when a car is brand new, especially if you think about what I'm doing with these videos with you guys, I need to make sure that everything is working correctly. These are bespoke, hand-built cars. I need to make sure everything's in proper running order before I completely commit to taking it on a trip or an event or something and then risk something not being right. So I have to actually think about this a lot more than you might realise. And then we get to the big question of, why would I add a new car to the garage, a new car with a V12? As I've said, as we come towards the national speed limit, it's looking a little bit too congested to properly open it. But there's a bit more to this. Now obviously I love the different experiences, different manufacturers, different types of cars, different engines, and yes, it gets an awful lot louder in here. But there's also the amount of miles I do, quite frankly, the amount of driving I do around Europe, around the continent, that over the last year my AMG GTR has done a lot of. And in fact, in the year, that car did 19,000 miles. Yes, it's still in my garage because I love it, but it basically moves more towards being in the collection side than the forefront. So the new car will kind of do that, do a lot of driving, a lot of journeys, and basically be used to meet with this car and the GT at the other end, which have been transported due to the fact that I can't just drive them unlimited miles. So overall, it does actually kind of make sense. And yes, I say makes sense. Nobody needs this many cars. There's no requirement for it, there's no need for it. It's purely that I love cars. I love the experience of different cars, and I'm in a position in my life where I can make the most of this opportunity, and I certainly want to make the most of this opportunity. And why not? You literally only live once, and it's really fun, and I think a lot of you guys enjoy seeing what these experiences are like and seeing what the cars are like, so I want to keep doing that and keep sharing it. So the new car is something that will connect back to the channel, and I think you're going to quite enjoy it, and you will be seeing that literally right around the corner, I think just a couple of days after this video. For now though, we'll get a bit further down the motorway, get off the motorway, find some countryside roads, have a little bit of fun, and then get to McLaren to find out what is going on there. This is where we can start to have a little bit more fun then. So even though it isn't running, what you are allowed to do is use over 5,000 RPM when the engine is warm. You start to hear some of the pops and bangs as well, just like in an LT in the 675 or in the 600 LTs. You get some of those really loud cracks when you're in sport mode, the ignition cut system. And basically, just get a small opportunity to feel it. And although I've not driven this car flat out, I have experienced the Senna flat out, and I know that this level of performance is just mind-bending. It is so quick, even just driving like this. When I do put my foot down on the throttle, it's just a tiny amount of press. Gives you so much. I mean, it's just silly, just absolutely silly, and it's so loud as well. And when you go over bumps, it's so bumpy and just one rigid board. It feels like the car is just a solid thing, a solid plank, making its way over the terrain. I want this on the track before long, within the next month, I promise, that's the intention. Or maybe 2, but not long, that's exactly what it's about. Anyway, we're on the road local to the McLaren factory, driving actually on their test route at the moment. This is where they take their cars, customer cars, before they go out to the dealers to be delivered, get driven on this loop around the factory. And you can see why, because the scenery is very nice, the roads are very nice, and well, they might not be driving them particularly aggressively, just finding if there are any niggles or anything that needs to be fixed, but it's a whole lot of fun. Case in point then, we find ourselves behind another Senna, doing the loop. I need to put my lift system back down. But yeah, unintentional Senna convoy right now on the roads near to the McLaren Technology Centre. How ridiculously cool is this? And that car, I'm not sure you'll be able to see out front, I don't want to follow it too closely, is an American spec car with the twin exhaust. Just looks mental on the road. Imagine if you now saw the two Sennas driving together. Yeah, that's really cool. Nice little perk of the day. And this is the quickest way back to the factory as well. He'll be heading back to the MPC, the McLaren Production Centre. We're heading to what they call the Thought Leadership Centre, the kind of venue that they use for hosting different events, and a perfect location for obviously today discovering what it is they want to show us. So yeah, nice little bonus. Here we are then, one Senna parked in front of the sign that is outside the McLaren Technology Centre. It's always great to be here, but obviously the first time I've brought this car here since the day I came to unwrap it. Now I think just about all of the McLarens I've owned to date have been parked right here in front of this sign, a signature place to stop for a photo, and on a day like today with the sunshine on the paintwork, it is looking fantastic. So basically had to be done even if it causes a little bit of a jam with the traffic. So I need to hop back in the car, drive in, go park up before we can head inside. Walking towards the entrance, and this place is amazing. You've got underground paths and tunnels. We have the LEGO Speed Champions. Now the Speed Champions little Senna model has already been released. I have a couple of those actually, but I think today we are going to be seeing something new. Life is measured in achievement, not in years alone. A quote from Bruce McLaren, a quote that I actually have written on the number plate of my 675 LT. Pretty famous one, I think. Inside then, where of course we're here with LEGO Speed Champions, and just as a quick reminder, here we have the P1, the 720S and the Senna Speed Champions models, but they have just done this reveal of a 1-to-1 scale McLaren Senna made out of Lego bricks. 500,000 Lego bricks, and we can take a look around it now. It actually weighs more than the actual car. This Senna is 1,700 kilos with just shy, as I say, of 500,000, 500,000 Lego bricks. It's in grey with the orange accents, just like the small model. But not only that, they have also given it an interior. So you can see you have the Senna seat, because naturally, the Lego seat isn't exactly the most comfortable thing in the world. You can start it up, it has headlights, the full car's steering wheel, you can see how the carbon tub is made, it's all glued together. The doors as well, hinge open, but they do take about 15 minutes to open because they weigh 70 kilos. So inside this you have a steel, almost chassis, a bit like the carbon fibre tub of the real car. And then you look around it, all of the Lego bricks, the exhaust system, the lights as well, all made using existing Lego pieces, everything refined to be correct, so even things, details like the pitch of the number plate. And then around the front, you can just see here, you've got the headlights, well, you've got the running lights illuminated, the headlights illuminate as well, but literally a full-size Lego Senna, which I'm going to step inside just now, very carefully does this, because we can take a seat and have a quick little play with this, starting off by pressing the button on the roof and starting the car. Listen to that, and look backwards as well at the engine back there. So that works. We've got the rear view camera. That does the job as well. LEGO Speed Champions. We can turn on the headlights. You can flash the hazard lights. We've got interior lights. This is actually really well done. I'm going to leave the hazard lights on when I stand out of the car. And you can you rev it? It actually revs the car as well. But this is basically just like the real thing. The air conditioning vents, the Senna logo there on the dashboard. That seat, well, you know what it's like standing on a Lego brick. Everybody's done that before. That would be quite firm to be sitting in. Everything in here, just like the real car, where you have the drive control buttons. Take a step back outside very quickly and work out how to just climb on out of here, down around the front. I think the lights just turned off. They were blinking a second ago. Even the doors, the glass that you have in the doors, open there. If you just come through, press the hazard lights, press high beam. Actually, wait, we might have to turn on the headlights as well. Here we go. Come around to the front. Very, very fun. So, yeah, they actually made that. A 1-to-1 scale Lego Senna. Back outside, it's time to head home, but the car parked here, the real car, it's actually quite interesting to look back at this after looking at the LEGO one-to-one replica. But one thing, of course, with this that you can't obviously recreate is all of that finish inside. For example, the suspension components, the raw carbon fibre of the wheel arch liner. Just have a look through there. It's so cool how open the Senna is and what you can actually see, but they've kind of created their own grills so that it's easier to clean than, you know, this kind of thing if they made it with Lego, because you can't easily get inside and anything like that. So we will jump on in then. It's a lovely, lovely afternoon here actually. The sky is very cerulean blue today, as the car, and take it on back home. This is the perfect car for this driving environment, sitting in a traffic jam on the United Kingdom's M25, famous for its traffic jams and taking a very long time to get around London, particularly in rush hour. However, I guess if you're going to be in a traffic jam, being in a Senna is a kind of interesting way to do it. You get lots of people reacting and noticing the car. But I did say that I'd tell you a little bit more about my plans with this car this year. So, of course, it's going to be at IAMS, the Amsterdam Motor Show. That's coming up. I will be there as well myself on the Thursday, Friday and Saturday. The car will be there the whole time, so the car will be on show alongside some of the others. Then from there, I'm going to be heading to Spring Event as well, an event I haven't attended in recent years, but with this and potentially with the 4GT as well. Then we're going to go from Spring Event to Car Freitag at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I'll be there at Car Freitag. I think I'll bring the Senna. I'm not sure at the moment if I'm brave / stupid enough to take the Senna around the Nürburgring itself, but we will see when the time comes. So that's kind of 3 busy weekends, one after the other. The parking sensors in here are really keen. They come on so soon, as you just heard. So from Car Freitag, then what else do we have? I think the car then comes back home for a bit, but then a little bit more time will go by. Summer will start to hit. The big adventures start with the Ford GT, but the Senna is going to be coming out and about a lot more. I think potentially I'm even going to take it to a proper track day. And when I say proper, I mean a proper day that I'm very much looking forward to as well. And I also have a small little road trip planned with it later in the year. So at the end of the year, it's going to have done a couple of thousand miles, which I do need to be sensible about. But I did say that I am going to use it. It's just why I'm making sure that I literally, ironically, against what I said myself, enjoying every mile I drive in it. I'm not necessarily enjoying sitting in this traffic jam, although we are right alongside an All Transports Limited truck, who are often the guys I use to move my cars around, so I'm not sure who's driving that one or what cars are inside, but my car might be inside that very truck at some point in the not too distant future. Other things going on, well, it's an interesting world, isn't it? A lot of people, especially in this space, in the YouTube space, are almost upgrading their cars. There are a couple of guys out there now with hypercars. You have Houston from Royalty Lifestyle, who has his Veyron, which he's potentially changing. Damon DDE's talked about getting a new car as well. Basically, it's quite an interesting space with some very interesting cars. Alejandro, he might be adding something new to his garage at some point. And yeah, I don't really know where all of that's going to head. It's going to be an interesting one that develops. Of course, I want to share the experience of this car with you, continuing my lineage almost of McLarens and going from the 12C, the 650, the LT and the LT Spider up into the Senna. And maybe I'll talk more about the differences. Maybe it would be fun to take out the LT and the Senna together and give you an explanation of what is different about, you know, a Super Series car to an Ultimate Series car. In terms of running costs, I think you'd be quite surprised by this car's triple the price, but it's vastly more than triple the running costs to run the Senna than the LT. So that could be one we could go into more detail about, but also in terms of driving, what you have to think about and general preparation and what's involved, what's it all about. In any case, this is literally not very exciting right now. Not the way I intended to conclude this rather exciting opportunity to take the car back to the McLaren factory, back to its birthplace, its home, and of course also see the LEGO Speed Champions one-to-one Senna too. So we shall continue and see what time or how much longer it's actually going to take to get back.
Estimated time in traffic,
He says. How long was that? 8 minutes. Ideal. Had a quick stop off on the way back, and it is now getting darker, but what a lovely day this has been. The perfect day really to take a car out for a drive, a new car, keep it looking good, because I've got a lot of plans actually coming up and I need to do a little bit of planning this evening for myself to get everything in order for this new car. Now I think it might actually be potentially the next video after this one. We will see very soon. There might be something else before, but this Saturday, 30th of March, usual time, 6 o'clock UK, 6 p.m. UK time, that's 7 p.m. in Germany. That is currently with the time zones, I'm not sure in America, but that will be the reveal of the new addition to the garage, he says, as we take this turning just in front of the Porsche dealership, which has a lovely yellow GT2 RS on display in the front window. Very, very nice. Anywho, short little drive from here to the storage, and we can get this car tucked back away. All done for today. Senna parked back up, plugged into the trickle charger, ready now to be completely covered, although you do have to watch out with that, because of course the exhausts at the back are still pretty hot. Anyway, it's now got about 440 miles in total on the clock, so a fair bit still to go to get it to the 625, but I've got another outing planned, so I'm going to try and get there as soon as possible, ready for some bigger adventures with the Senna and the Ford GT, and featuring the new car that, as I keep saying, is coming very soon. I can't wait to share that with you guys. It's the perfect car, the perfect spec, exactly what I've been waiting for, and here it is. So that's coming next. For now though, it's always fun to take a car back to its birthplace. The first time for me taking the Senna back since I've been driving it, to actually drive it on the roads to get there. And yeah, exciting times, always a crazy experience. And I can't wait to share more of what it's going to be like to drive a car like this out in a serious environment, on the racetrack, on some mountain roads, having some fun with it. Anywho, we're going to head off now in Seb's Alpine A110. I've never actually done a video or driven an A110 myself, so maybe I should look into that as well, because, well, they get lots of rave reviews, so I'm looking forward to hopefully finding out what that's like too. But for now, I think the next time you will see these may well be at IAMS or on the way to IAMS, along with the new car and some of the others. So a lot going on. It's been quite a fun day to see the LEGO 1-to-1 Senna, the Speed Champions model as well, and generally pretty exciting time. So thank you very much for watching what's been, I guess, a bit of a vlog today, a bit of a spontaneous outing that isn't, I don't know, a bit random, but I hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless. Anyway, that's it for this time. Thank you very much again, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.